The alarm stopped blaring across the warship. Commander stood on the bridge with his arms crossed, watching the small human vessel floating dead in space. Its engines were dark. No weapons fired. No distress signals sent. The ship just sat there like a broken toy. "We got him," said with a wide smile. His crew cheered around him. They had been hunting human ships for weeks, and finally they caught one. The humans were supposed to be tough fighters, but this one gave up without even trying. "Bring the human aboard," ordered. "I want everyone to see what we caught today." Two guards dragged the human pilot through the main corridor. Soldiers lined up on both sides, laughing and pointing. Some took pictures, others made rude gestures. The human kept his head down, not fighting, not speaking. He looked ordinary, short dark hair turning gray at the edges, a face marked with old scars, tired eyes that stared at the floor. He wore a simple flight suit with no badges or medals. "Is this really a human?" one soldier asked. "He looks so weak." "They all break eventually," another replied. The guards threw the human into a cell in the detention block. The door slammed shut with a heavy metal sound. Inside the cell, 3 other prisoners were already there. 2 aliens from different species sat in the corners. A human woman with oil stains on her jumpsuit looked up from where she sat on a metal bench. The man slowly stood up and dusted off his flight suit. He moved to the corner and sat down, leaning his back against the cold wall. His face showed no emotion, no fear, no anger, nothing. "Hey," the woman whispered in their human language. "You okay?" The man nodded once but said nothing. "What's your name?" she asked. He answered quietly. The woman studied his face for a long moment. Her eyes moved to his wrist where an old, faded tattoo barely showed under his sleeve. She leaned closer and whispered even softer. "Is it true? Are you really him?" Turned his head slightly and looked at her. For just a second, something changed in his eyes, something cold and dangerous. He gave the smallest nod. The woman's face went white. She pushed herself back against the wall and wrapped her arms around her knees. "Oh no," she breathed. "They have no idea what they just did." Meanwhile, on the bridge, Commander recorded a message. He stood straight with his chest puffed out, speaking into the camera. "This is Commander of the 4th Fleet. Today we captured a human pilot who dared to enter our territory. Let this be a lesson to all humans. You are not as strong as you think. Your stories do not scare us. We have 12 warships here and you have nothing." He sent the message across the military network. Within an hour, hundreds of ships would see it. They would celebrate. They would feel brave. They would think humans were easy to defeat. Walked through the ship, receiving congratulations from his crew. Officers shook his hand. Junior soldiers saluted with extra sharpness. Everyone felt proud. They caught a human, not killed in battle but captured alive. That was even better. They could question him, learn human secrets, maybe even use him as a hostage. In the cell, the other prisoners tried to sleep. The lights dimmed for night cycle, remained sitting in his corner, eyes open. The woman, whose name was Na, watched him nervously. She had been an engineer on a transport ship before they caught her 3 weeks ago. She knew the stories about Earth's special soldiers. Every human did, but she never thought she would meet one of them. "What are you going to do?" Na finally whispered. Looked at her calmly. "Count," he said. "Count what?" "Everything." Na watched as eyes moved slowly around the cell. He stared at the door for exactly 60 seconds, then the walls, then the ceiling. His lips moved slightly but no sound came out. He was memorizing, measuring, planning. The other alien prisoners slept but never closed his eyes. Hour after hour he sat perfectly still, only his eyes moving. Sometimes he would flex his fingers. Sometimes he would take slow, deep breaths, but mostly he just watched and counted. Nuff finally fell asleep near dawn. When she woke up hours later, was doing push-ups. Not fast, not slow, just steady. Up and down, like a machine. When he finished 100, he stopped and sat back in his corner. His breathing was not even heavy. A guard brought food trays, took his and ate slowly, studying the tray itself. It was cheap metal, thin but sturdy. The fork was plastic, but the knife was metal. He finished eating and set the tray down carefully, his fingers running along the edge. Na understood. He was not just eating. He was learning what materials he had to work with. "How long?" she asked quietly. Looked at the door, then back at her. 3 days, he said. "I need 3 days to learn this ship." "Then what?" For the first time smiled. It was not a happy smile. It was the smile of a predator who had just spotted prey. "Then they learn why you don't cage a reaper. You let him do his work or he takes you instead." Na shivered. She realized they made a terrible mistake. They thought they caught a prize, but really they invited death onto their ship, and it was counting down the hours until it could begin its work. Officer sat at his computer station in the intelligence room, feeling bored. He had the night shift, which meant most of the ship slept while he watched screens that showed nothing interesting. He decided to run a background check on their new prisoner. Just routine work to pass the time. He typed in the ship's identification number from the captured human vessel. The computer searched for a moment, then displayed basic information. Small transport ship, registered to civilian use. Nothing special. Almost closed the file, but something made him look deeper. He entered the pilot's biometric data that the medical scanner collected when the human came aboard. Age, height, weight, fingerprints, retinal scan. Standard procedure for all prisoners. Pressed the search button and leaned back in his chair, expecting nothing. The computer screen went blank. Then red text appeared. Classified file, ACCSSING higher clearance. Sat up straight. That was unusual. Civilian pilots did not have classified files. He tried again, using his intelligence officer codes. The screen blinked. More red text. Warning, security level insufficient. Now felt worried. He typed faster, going through databases he rarely needed. Military records, war criminal lists, special operations files. Each one asked for higher clearance. Each one blocked him. Finally, he used commander's access codes. The commander would be angry if he found out, but needed to know. The screen went black for 10 seconds. Then a file opened. Read the first line, and his hands started shaking. In the cell, continued his routine. Day 2 of his captivity began with exercises. He did them slowly so the guards watching through the camera would think he was just an old man staying active. But none noticed how he moved. Every push-up placed his hands at slightly different angles, testing his strength from different positions. Every stretch let him study the door hinges. Every breath counted the seconds between guard patrols. "They walk past every 15 minutes, whispered to Na. 2 guards. One carries a shock stick. One carries a plasma rifle. The rifle guard walks on the left side." "How can you tell?" Na asked. "Their footsteps sound different. Heavy boots on the left, light boots on the right." Na shook her head in amazement. She had been here for weeks and never noticed these things. Had been here 2 days and knew everything. A different guard brought lunch. This one was younger, less experienced. He opened the slot in the door to pass through the trays but kept his eyes down, avoiding looking at the prisoners. Watched him carefully. This guard felt sorry for them. That was useful information. "Excuse me," Na said to the young guard. "Can I ask you something?" The guard looked up, surprised that a prisoner spoke politely. "What?" "You seem like a good person," Na said. "Do you know who you captured? The human man in here with me." The guard glanced at who sat quietly in his corner. "Just another human pilot. Why?" "Because," Na said, her voice urgent and scared, "if he is who I think he is, you need to tell your commander to let him go. Right now. Before it is too late." The guard laughed nervously. "You think one human can fight our whole fleet? We have 12 warships." "Numbers do not matter," Na said. "Not with him. Please, you have to listen. I am trying to save your lives." The guard's face hardened. He thought Nuh was trying to trick him. Your human friend is locked in a cell. He cannot help you. He closed the food slot and walked away. Nuh looked at I tried. I know, said. Thank you, but they never listen to warnings. They have to learn the hard way. Back in the intelligence room, finally finished reading the file. His face had gone pale. His hands still shook. He stood up so fast his chair fell backwards. He ran through the corridors toward the commander's quarters, not caring who he pushed past. He hammered on commander's door. Sir, you need to wake up. Opened the door wearing his sleep clothes, looking angry. This better be important. It is, sir, the prisoner. I ran his biometrics through the military database. Held up his data pad with shaking hands. Sir, we did not capture a random pilot. We captured the Reaper. Stared at him. The Reaper, that is just a human myth, propaganda to scare us. No, sir, said, his voice cracking. It is real. His name is, he is the soldier who destroyed 3 dreadnoughts by himself. He is the one who survived behind enemy lines for 2 years and freed over 300 prisoners. He has 247 confirmed kills in hand-to-hand combat, 14 capital ships destroyed. The file says he is the most dangerous human soldier alive. Grab the data pad and read it himself. His confident smile faded as he scrolled through the information. Mission reports, battle records, psychological profiles. All of it painted a picture of something more than a soldier, a weapon, a force of nature dressed in human skin. It says here his method is to get captured on purpose, read aloud. He uses captivity to gather intelligence and destroy enemy operations from inside. Warning, do not engage. Do not capture. If encountered, retreat immediately and report to high command. Nodded quickly. Sir, we need to get rid of him, shoot him into space, execute him, something, anything. We cannot keep him on this ship. Looked at the report for a long time. Then he handed the data pad back to, No. Sir. This is human propaganda, said firmly. They want us to fear one man, but I will not show weakness. He is locked in a maximum security cell. We have guards, cameras, sensors. He is not getting out. But sir, the file. The file is designed to scare us, his voice rose. Think about it. If this human is so dangerous, why did he surrender without a fight? Why did he let us capture him so easily? Because he is just a man. An old, tired man who gave up. Wanted to argue more, but he saw the stubbornness in his eyes. The commander would not listen. His pride would not let him show fear. Go back to your station, ordered. Keep monitoring the prisoner, but stop spreading these fairy tales. We caught a human, that is all. Now let me sleep. Walked slowly back to the intelligence room. He sat down at his station and pulled up the camera feed from the detention block. On the screen, he saw sitting calmly in the corner of his cell, just sitting, breathing, waiting. Watched that calm face and felt ice in his stomach. The file had included a quote from an admiral who survived an encounter with the Reaper. Read it again. He does not rage. He does not rush. He simply waits until the universe aligns with his purpose, and then he moves and everything falls apart. You do not fight the Reaper. You just die and wonder why you thought you were safe. Kept watching the screen, counting down the hours until something terrible happened, because something would happen. The file made that clear. The Reaper always completed his mission, always freed the prisoners, always destroyed his enemies. And they had invited him right into their home. Could not sleep. After his shift ended, he went to his quarters and lay on his bed, staring at the ceiling. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw that classified file. The numbers haunted him. 247 kills, 14 ships, 300 prisoners freed. He got up and went back to his computer station, even though it was not his shift anymore. He needed to know more. He needed to understand what they were dealing with. He searched for battle reports that mentioned the Reaper. The first one he found was from the campaign 8 years ago. A battle station held 200 human prisoners. They bragged about their security: 30 guards, automated turrets, sensor fields, impossible to break into, they said. Then a human shuttle crashed nearby. Only one survivor. He surrendered immediately. They locked him up with the other prisoners. 3 days later, the entire battle station went dark. When reinforcements arrived, they found all 200 prisoners gone. The 30 guards were unconscious but alive. The station's reactor was damaged beyond repair. And on the command deck wall, someone had written in blood, "You should have let them go." The survivor from the shuttle was never found, but the freed prisoners all told the same story. A quiet man named organized everything. He studied the station for days, then moved through it like a ghost. No alarms, no battles, just silent, efficient destruction. Read another report, then another. Each one followed the same pattern: would get captured. He would wait and watch. Then he would break out and dismantle everything. Sometimes he killed his enemies. Sometimes he just left them alive and humiliated. But he always freed every prisoner he could find, and he always escaped. Why does he do it? Whispered to himself. Why does he keep letting himself get captured? He found a psychological analysis written by a doctor who studied human warfare. The report said that some human soldiers could not stop fighting even when the war ended. They needed purpose. They needed missions. The Reaper had found his purpose. He hunted slavers and rescuers prisoners. It gave meaning to his life. It gave him a reason to keep being a weapon. Felt sick. Their fleet had been raiding human colony ships and taking prisoners for months. They had 17 prisoners on this ship alone. They were exactly the type of enemy the Reaper hunted. And they invited him aboard. In the detention cell began the final phase of his preparation. It was day 3, just as he promised. He had watched. He had counted. He had memorized everything about this section of the ship. Now it was time to act. He took the metal food tray from lunch and held it carefully. Using the edge of the cell wall, he bent the tray back and forth at one corner. The metal was thin. After 5 minutes of careful work, a small piece broke off. It was thin, flat, and about as long as his finger. Perfect. Null watched nervously. The other prisoners woke up and noticed what was doing. The 2 aliens moved to the far corner, trying to stay out of whatever was about to happen. "You are really going to do this?" Na asked. "Yes," said simply. He used the broken piece of metal to scratch the wall, sharpening it to a fine point. "When I open this door, I need you to do something for me." "What?" "I am going to free everyone on this ship, but I cannot protect all of you while I work. I need you to lead them to the shuttle bay. Dock 7. Can you do that?" Na's eyes went wide. "You want me to lead 17 prisoners through a warship full of armed soldiers?" "I will make sure the path is clear," said calmly. "You just need to move fast and not stop. Can you do it?" Na swallowed hard, then she nodded. "Yes, I can do it." "Good." Move to the cell door and examine the lock. It was electronic, but it had a manual backup. All ships had manual backups in case of power failure. He slid his makeshift into the tiny gap near the lock mechanism. "How do you know this will work?" one of the alien prisoners asked. "Because I have done it 46 times before," answered. His hands moved with practiced skill, feeling for the internal mechanisms. Every species thinks their locks are special, but they all work the same way. You just need to understand the principle. Click. The door unlocked. Na gasped. The alien stood up, hope and fear mixing on their faces. Slowly opened the door and looked out into the corridor. Empty. The guards would not come back for 12 more minutes. He had counted their timing perfectly. "Stay here," told the others. "I will be back in 10 minutes, then we move." He slipped out of the cell like smoke. His feet made no sound on the metal floor. He moved along the wall, staying in the shadows between the lights. The corridor curved ahead. He knew from counting steps that a guard station sat around that corner. 2 guards, one watching monitors, one reading something on a data pad. Did not hesitate. He moved around the corner fast and silent. The guard watching monitors never saw him coming. His hand struck the back of the guard's neck and the guard collapsed without a sound. The second guard looked up from his data pad just in time to cease fist. 2 seconds. 2 unconscious guards. Dragged them into a storage closet and sealed the door. He took their access cards and their weapons, a shock stick and a plasma rifle. He checked the rifle's charge. Full. Good. He accessed the guard station computer using the stolen access card. His fingers moved quickly across the controls. He pulled up the ship's prisoner manifest. 17 prisoners total, 5 in his cell, 8 in another cell down the corridor, 4 in a holding area near the cargo bay. He also pulled up the ship's layout. Dock 7 was 3 decks up and halfway across the ship. The armory was 1 deck down. The command deck was at the top of the ship. The reactor room was at the bottom. Memorized everything in 30 seconds. Then he deleted the surveillance footage from the last hour and corrupted the backup files. When security finally checked, they would find nothing but static. He returned to the cell exactly 10 minutes after he left, just as he promised. The prisoners stared at him. He carried weapons now. He looked different, more dangerous, more real. "Listen carefully," said to all of them. "We are leaving this ship, all of us. I will free the other prisoners first. Then Nuh will lead you to Dock 7. Take any shuttle you can access. Do not wait for me. Do not try to fight, just run." "What will you do?" Nuh asked. "Check the rifle settings. I will make sure they are too busy to chase you." He led them out into the corridor. They moved quickly but quietly, following his hand signals. He brought them to the second cell and used the stolen access card to open it. 8 more prisoners stumbled out, confused and frightened. "Go with Nuh," told them. "She will keep you safe." Then he heard footsteps, multiple boots, coming fast. Someone discovered the unconscious guards. The alarm would sound any second. "Go now," pushed Nuh toward the emergency stairwell. "Get them out." Nuh grabbed the nearest prisoner and ran. The others followed, watched them disappear through the stairwell door. Then he turned and faced the approaching soldiers. 5 of them rounded the corner with weapons raised. They saw standing alone in the corridor, holding a rifle, and they finally understood. This was not a prisoner. This was not a victim. This was the thing from the warnings. This was the Reaper. And he was done waiting. The alarm began to wail throughout the ship. Red lights flashed in every corridor. Commander sat up in his bed, his heart pounding. "All hands to battle stations." The announcement blared. "Prisoner escape in progress. Security to detention block immediately." Jumped out of bed and grabbed his uniform. His hands shook as he dressed. Deep down, beneath all his pride, he knew the truth. Had been right. The warnings had been real. And now the Reaper was loose on his ship. The 5 soldiers aimed their weapons at. They expected him to surrender again, to put down his rifle and raise his hands. Instead, moved. He was not young anymore. His body carried scars from dozens of battles, but he trained for situations exactly like this every single day. His body remembered what to do even when his mind did not think about it. Dropped low and rolled to the side as the soldiers fired. Plasma bolts scorched the wall where he had been standing. Before they could adjust their aim, fired 3 times. 3 soldiers fell. The other 2 dove for cover behind support pillars. "He is just one human," one soldier shouted. "We can take him." Did not waste energy responding. He threw his rifle at the speaker, making the soldier flinch and duck. In that half-second, crossed the distance between them and struck with the shock stick he had taken from the guards. The electricity crackled. The soldier went down. The last soldier tried to run, caught him from behind and used a pressure point technique that made the soldier collapse like a puppet with cut strings. 5 seconds. 5 soldiers down. Moved on. He had to reach the other 4 prisoners in the cargo bay, and he had to cause enough chaos that the soldiers would not chase Nuh and the others. He ran through the corridors, and his old combat instincts took over. This was what he trained for, what he was built for. He reached a junction and saw 10 more soldiers setting up a defensive position. They had shields and heavy weapons, could not fight through that, so he did not try. He doubled back and found a maintenance shaft. The metal grate came off easily. He climbed inside and crawled through the narrow space. It was dark and cramped, but it led where he needed to go. On the command deck, Commander watched the security monitors in disbelief. The human was everywhere and nowhere. He appeared on one camera, then vanished. Soldiers rushed to intercept him, but he was always one step ahead. "How is he doing this?" shouted. Stood beside him, his face grim. He mapped the entire ship while he was in the cell. He knows where every corridor goes, where every shaft leads. He probably knows this ship better than we do now. Then flood the ship with soldiers. Lock down every section. "We are, sir, but he is not trying to escape. He is causing damage." Looked at a different monitor. It showed the navigation control room. The door was sealed shut from the inside. Sparks flew from the control panels. Had somehow gotten in there and was destroying everything before the soldiers could break through the door. "He is sabotaging critical systems," said. "Navigation, communications, sensors. He is making us blind." Another monitor showed the armory. The door stood wide open, had already been there. Half the weapons were gone. "Where did he take those weapons?" demanded. "I do not know, sir. He is hiding them throughout the ship, creating supply caches for himself." Felt his confidence crumbling. This was not supposed to happen. One prisoner should not be able to do this. But the evidence was right there on the monitors. The human moved through their ship like he owned it. "Where are the other prisoners?" asked. Checked a monitor showing the shuttle bay. "They reached Dock 7. They are trying to access a shuttle now." "Send soldiers to stop them." "I cannot, sir. Every security team is chasing the human, and he keeps hitting them from unexpected angles. We have 30 soldiers unconscious, 15 with minor injuries. 0 fatalities so far." "Why is he not killing anyone?" wondered aloud. "Because," a voice said from behind them, "he does not need to." Spun around, stood in the doorway of the command deck. His flight suit was torn. Blood ran from a cut on his forehead, but his eyes were steady and calm. In his hands he held a small device with blinking lights. "How did you get up here?" whispered. "We locked down all the lifts." "I climbed," said simply. "Maintenance shafts, emergency ladders. Your security only watches the main routes." 12 guards on the command deck raised their weapons, but they hesitated. Had that device in his hands. Nobody knew what it was. "That is a bomb," said, reading their thoughts. "Connected to your reactor. If I press this button, the reactor overloads in 5 minutes. Enough time for everyone to get to escape pods. Not enough time to stop the overload." "You are bluffing," said, but his voice shook. "Am I?" Tilted his head. "You read my file, you know what I can do. Do you really want to test if I am bluffing?" Silence filled the command deck. Every person there knew the stories now. The warnings had spread through the ship. The human standing before them had destroyed capital ships with less. "What do you want?" asked. "The 4 prisoners in cargo bay holding. Release them to shuttle bay 7. Let all the prisoners leave. Do not follow them. And if we do this, you will not blow up the ship. Consider this. I will give you a choice. You can be smart or you can be dead. Smart means you let the prisoners go and you survive. Dead means you try to stop me and I turn this warship into scrap metal. Choose now." Looked at, the intelligence officer nodded slightly. They both knew the truth. They had already lost this fight the moment they captured the Reaper. "Release the prisoners in cargo bay 4, ordered. "All security teams stand down. Let them reach the shuttles." On the monitors, they watched guards open the cargo bay holding cell. 4 confused prisoners were escorted to shuttle bay 7, where Na and the others waited. The young guard that Na had tried to warn was one of the escorts. He helped the prisoners into the shuttle gently. "They are all aboard, sir," reported. "The shuttle is launching now." They watched the small shuttle leave the docking bay and fly toward open space. 17 prisoners, all freed, all safe. "Lowered the device. You should know something, Commander. This is not really a bomb." His face went red with anger. "You lied." "Yes, but by the time you figured that out, the prisoners would be gone anyway. I just saved us all a lot of unnecessary fighting. Set the fake bomb on the floor. I did, however, corrupt your navigation system, damage your communications array, and scramble your targeting computers. You will need 3 days of repairs before this ship can fly properly." "Why?" asked. "Why go through all this? You could have just escaped. Why risk everything for prisoners you do not even know?" Looked at him with those tired, ancient eyes. "Because someone has to. Your fleet has been raiding human colonies and taking prisoners. You celebrate it like sport, but those people have families. They have lives. They matter." "They are enemies in a war," said. "No," replied quietly. "They are people who were in the wrong place at the wrong time, like I was, like you are now." He walked toward the door. The guards aimed at him but did not fire. "You celebrated capturing me. You broadcast it across your fleet. You were so proud, but you never stopped to think about what it meant. Why would a human pilot let himself be captured so easily? Why would he not fight?" "You wanted us to capture you," said, understanding finally. "This was all planned." "Every part of it," confirmed. "I tracked your fleet for 3 weeks. I waited until you were far from backup. Then I let you catch me. I needed to find your prisoner-holding cells. I needed time to map your ship. And I needed you to feel confident. Overconfident people make mistakes." He reached the door and paused. "You can tell your superiors that you captured the Reaper and he escaped, or you can lie and say it never happened. Either way, think carefully before you raid another human colony, because next time I might not be so gentle." Ran. Alarms blared again as guards chased him through the corridors, but he knew exactly where he was going. He reached the fighter bay and found a small scout ship. The door was already open, hacked during his earlier sabotage runs. He jumped into the pilot's seat and fired the engines. The bay doors began to close but launched before they could seal. The small fighter shot out into space, leaving the damaged warship behind. Commander stood on the bridge, watching the fighter disappear into the stars. His ship was damaged. His prisoners were gone. His pride was shattered. And somewhere out there, the Reaper was already looking for his next mission. Stolen fighter streaked through space, but he did not run far. He circled back and stayed hidden behind a debris field, watching the warships. The prisoner shuttle was somewhere out here too, moving away from danger as fast as it could. Opened the fighter's communication system and sent a coded signal. It was old, something only human military ships would recognize. Then he waited. On the flagship, Commander tried to restore order. Repair crews worked on the damaged systems. Medical teams treated the injured soldiers. Everyone moved with urgency but also with shame. One human did all this. One prisoner. "Sir," said quietly, "I am reading multiple hyperspace signatures, coming in fast." Stomach dropped. "How many?" 30, no more, 35, 40. His voice got higher. "Sir, it is a human battle fleet." Space ripped open with bright light as human warships dropped out of hyperspace. Massive destroyers, fast cruisers, carrier ships. They formed a perfect blockade around the fleet, surrounding them completely. 11 warships tried to move into defensive positions, but their damaged sensors and navigation systems made coordination difficult. They scattered instead of organizing. The human fleet did not move. They just sat there in space, weapons charged but not firing. "They are hailing us, sir," the communications officer said. "Put it through," ordered, his voice barely above a whisper. A human woman appeared on the main screen. She wore an admiral's uniform with sharp creases and medals that told stories of battles won. Her hair was pulled back tight, and her eyes were hard. "I am Admiral Young of the Earth Defense Fleet," she said. Her voice was calm but carried weight like a hammer. "You are commander of the Fourth Fleet." "Yes," said I am. 3 hours ago, one of our ships went dark in this sector. The pilot was a man named. You captured him." Felt sweat on his forehead. "He escaped. He is gone now." "I know. He sent us his location 20 minutes ago." Admiral Young leaned forward. "Do you know who he is, Commander?" "We learned after it was too late." "Then you understand why we are here. You took one of ours. We take that very seriously." Behind the Admiral, another human officer appeared. He was younger with captain insignia. "Admiral Young, the Reaper has signaled. He and the prisoner shuttle are both clear of the combat zone." Young nodded. "Thank you, Captain Sung." She returned her attention to, "You have a choice now, Commander. You can fight us and lose every ship in your fleet, or you can be smart." "What do you want?" asked. "I want you to understand something about humans," Young said. "We do not leave our people behind, ever. When you take one of ours, we will come for them. We will bring whatever force is necessary, and we will not stop until they are safe." She gestured to something off-screen. The view shifted to show the freed prisoners on the shuttle, all of them safe and alive. Na waved at the camera, tears running down her face. "Your man freed all our prisoners," Young continued. "He also freed 8 members of other species. Those species will remember that humanity came to rescue them. Do you know what that means politically?" It meant 8 more species might become human allies. 8 more voices that would speak well of Earth in the Galactic Council. The humans just gained enormous political advantage because of this incident. "You are correct," Young said, reading his expression. "This was never just about rescue. This was about sending a message to everyone watching. You do not mess with humans. You do not take our people. And you definitely do not celebrate when you think you caught us." "What happens now?" asked. "Now, you take your fleet and you go home. You report to your superiors that raiding human colonies is a very bad idea. You tell them what one human did to your flagship, and you make sure they understand what 40 human warships can do if you make us angry. You are letting us go." Young smiled, but it was not a warm smile. "We could destroy you right now, but that would start a war, and wars are expensive. It is better to educate you, to teach you respect. So yes, we are letting you go, this time." She stood up. "But hear this clearly, Commander. If your fleet raids one more human colony, if you take one more prisoner, we will not be this kind again. The Reaper was gentle with you. He did not kill any of your crew. He gave you a chance to learn. But if there is a next time, we will not send one soldier. We will send our entire fleet. And you will learn what it really means to face humanity at war." The transmission ended. The human warships held their positions for 5 more minutes, letting the threat sink in. Then, slowly, they turned and jumped back to hyperspace, all except one small cruiser that waited for the prisoner shuttle and fighter. Docked his stolen fighter in the cruiser's bay. He climbed out slowly, feeling every bruise and cut from the fight. His body hurt, his head throbbed, but everyone was safe. That was what mattered. Admiral Young met him in the docking bay. Behind her stood Captain Sung and a medical team with stretchers and equipment. "You cut it close this time," Young said. "It worked," replied. "Everyone got out." "You look terrible." "I feel terrible." Allowed the medical team to guide him toward the sick bay. "How many ships did you bring?" 42. "You are too valuable to risk. We were ready to fight the entire fleet if necessary. That would have started a war. So would leaving you behind." Young walked beside him. "The council wants to meet with you when we get back. Something about awarding another medal." Sighed, "I do not want more medals." "I know, but you are a symbol now, the Reaper, the soldier who does not stop. People need symbols." They reached the sick bay. The doctors began treating injuries. Nothing serious this time, just cuts, bruises, and exhaustion. In a few days, he would be fine. Na came to visit while the doctors worked. She still wore her dirty engineer jumpsuit, but she looked happy, alive. "I wanted to say thank you." "You do not need to thank me," said. "I was just doing my job." "You saved 17 people. You risked everything for strangers. That is more than just a job." Did not know how to respond to that, so he just nodded. Na hesitated at the door. "What will you do now? Take a break, rest?" "Maybe," said, but they both knew he was lying. In a few weeks he would be back out there, looking for the next mission, the next group of prisoners who needed rescue, because that was what the Reaper did. That was his purpose. After Na left, Captain Sung came in with a data pad. "You should see this. It is already spreading through the galaxy." Took the pad and watched. It was the broadcast commander made when he first captured, the one where stood proudly and bragged about catching a human. Below the video, someone had added text. He celebrated capturing the Reaper. 3 days later, the Reaper walked off his ship with 17 freed prisoners. The video had millions of views. Species all across the galaxy were watching it, discussing it, learning from it. "You are famous again," Sung said. "I do not want to be famous. I want people to stop taking prisoners." "Maybe they will now, after seeing what happened to the—" Handed back the pad. He was tired, so tired. But he knew this was just one mission. There would be more. There were always more. "Get some sleep," Sung said gently. "You earned it." Closed his eyes. In his mind he was already counting days until the next report of raiders, counting hours until someone else needed rescue, counting the missions until maybe, someday, he could stop, until there were no more prisoners to free, no more enemies to teach, no more work for a Reaper. But that day was not today, and probably not tomorrow, so he rested, he healed, and he prepared for the next time someone celebrated too early, for the next time someone forgot that humans do not leave their people behind. Because the Reaper never stopped. He just moved from one harvest to the next, patient, persistent, inevitable. And the galaxy was finally learning to fear that patience.